Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Perillo, and in tech news today, Apple hasn't even released their new Reality OS, or whatever it's going to be called, their headgear. You looking at my headgear? That's an old South Park reference, by the way. I remember that. That was the last time I think I watched South Park, back in the early days of Lockerdom, when I made South Park icons back in the days, just south of South Park. You can go and look up South Park icons and my name might pop up. Anyway, Apple hasn't even released their new thing, the contraption for their head that's not VR, or kind of AR, maybe MR, XR, I don't know, JR. I'm just throwing letters up against the wall to see what sticks. And in many ways, it seems that that's what Apple's going to be doing. I will say, I will go on record, as I have when I was live streaming here. And yeah, by the way, that's what's behind me, live.perillo.com. You can join, geek out with other people. People are doing software development, playing video games, geeking out 24/7 over there. It's like a live arcade. I had mentioned that when Apple does release their thing, I'd get one. I've earmarked that budget, like it's set aside, because I know rumors have suggested that the first one they release is going to be really expensive, like $3,000 allegedly, like in that ballpark. And I look at that and think, all right, well, I can't do VR because I get motion sick. Like it's just a problem. I had a problem even with playing the Lego Star Wars game. I'd love to play that on Twitch along with all y'all, but like I can't, because I just took one turn and I went too fast sitting in front of these screens, even at 30 frames per second, and I'm like, I can't do it, got a headache immediately. So I have a problem with FPSs. So VR, out. I've had to sit out that revolution entirely. AR, you might remember I've been bullish on. I was doing videos about AR like over a decade ago. Always been someone who's happy about seeing AR being more prevalent. Always excited to see what's happening and new apps in relation to AR. So certainly, if you find one that you might think I find interesting, let me know. So when Apple's come along and said, okay, they got this thing, this is still a rumor, right? The rumor's been this thing that's this mix that you can do this and that and the other thing, whether it's gaming, watching video, showing a desktop, doing, let's say, FaceTime calls. I'd get one. I would, because you couldn't exactly walk out and about with that thing. You'd have to be tethered in some way, shape, or form, right? So I'd be sitting here anyway. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd get one. So I'm already on board with the first one. I'm putting it out there. I'm on board because I gotta try it, because it's not just VR. And if it's not just that thing, then I'm like, okay, then this has got to be the thing that I gotta. That's exciting to me. That's exciting. So you might be concerned that, well, $3,000, Chris, this is a lot of money, even to throw at Apple, even though that's like half of an iPhone now. I think an iPhone 14 Pro Max Plus Pro Premium, isn't that like $6,000 these days? Inflation, what are you gonna do? Obviously I'm being facetious. So anyway, there was another rumor on top of the rumors, and the standing rumor is that they're going to be announcing this eye helmet. Why don't they call it that? The eye headgear. They're going to be releasing that in what is it? WWDC this June, allegedly. Just a rumor, and I don't like talking about rumors, but here's the rumor on top of the rumor, because this may be more palatable for you, especially if you didn't have $3,000 to burn. Although I'd be surprised if you didn't. And you have, you're surrounded by, computers and everything. By the way, the screen behind me disappeared because I had to zoom in on the screen in front of me. Allegedly, Apple is going to be planning a cheaper second-gen AR, MR headset with two high-end and low-end models built by different companies, likely launching in 2025. So the idea is if you sit out the first round, oops, sorry for knocking the mic. Let me say that again. If you sit out the first round, you can hit the second round. The first round, however, is probably the most exciting. And so I'm definitely, I'm in. I have to. There's no way. I'm not going to poo-poo this thing at a distance. If it's Apple, I'd assume it's polished enough. We'll see. I'll have to report back on the jankiness. But the good news is, with this new, this alleged new device, battery life's not great, because it's very powerful, allegedly running an M2 processor inside. Battery life's not great. So even if I don't like it, it only works for like a couple of hours at a time. So, it's kind of a wash. And then, of course, if I like it, then I can wear it for longer. Although I can't imagine wanting to wear something like that for hours at a time. I'm someone who doesn't even like, wearing anything in my ear. I don't, because it's uncomfortable. So I don't know how this is all going to play out yet. But my plan with this headset is to get the first gen. Your plan may be to skip it, wait for the second gen, and the good news is there will be a cheaper version available. But I wonder, like, what would you be missing in a cheaper version? Like, wouldn't you want, like, if this is like the experience for immersion and everything, wouldn't you want the best experience on your head? I don't know. Maybe I'm the kind of guy who, when I invest in these technologies, and in many ways this is an investment. Like when I get a computer, it's an investment because I'm using the computer. It's not just sitting there like, you know, a decoration, right? When I get a monitor, it's an investment because I need to use the monitor for, this is a tool, right? I'm not going to collect it, although I should have, because did you catch the news? Apple, the first iPhone, it sold at auction for over $60,000. It was still in the cellophane wrapper, unopened. The first iPhone, like that sold for what? How much was it? So ungodly expensive back in the day. You know, before we hit this inflation wave, $60,000. Man, I'm kicking myself for not getting one and collecting that. But, you know, so be it. That ship has sailed. I'm not saying that you should buy 2 of these headgear things, but maybe, you know, if you had the money to burn, you could. I'd look at it as an investment, especially if you do anything with technology. I'd look at it as potentially more than a toy. I am certainly looking at it as a possibility for being able to create content around. I'd certainly be wearing it, not just during the regular 24/7 broadcast, but potentially doing videos on it. I mean, sounds interesting. It sounds, let me put it this way, probably one of the more exciting devices that I have heard about for me in the past few years. Certainly from Apple. The most recent device that got me excited, at least as far as technology is concerned, has been the 3D printer, but I don't think that's a surprise because I took all my 3D prints off the desk. Well, here's a leg. I printed a leg earlier. That was it went to a figure.